Hey friends, I'm Christy and you're listening to Rock the Damn Boat, a podcast for women who are done playing small. If you've been shrinking to keep the peace or waiting for permission to want more, climb aboard because we are going to make some waves together. Don't forget to follow or subscribe so you're never left stranded on the shore. And if you want a more connected experience, visit thrivewithchristy.com to learn more about the Thrive Collective, a community that combines boat rocking energy with the grounding effects of yoga and breathwork with live calls and classes. Now on to the show. Hello, everybody. I am tuning in today for Sunday Shortie from a hotel room in Reno, Nevada. I have the Sierra Nevada mountains out my hotel window, along with some interesting silver sphere. And then right outside the other window is a giant, I don't know if it's like a weather station type of sphere or if maybe there's a theater in there. It's been an interesting view. And Reno has been an interesting city. So I don't know if my listeners, any of my listeners absolutely love Reno. I have mixed feelings about it. It's, of course, I lived in Phoenix for 4 years. I loved life in the desert. This is really deserty. This is the high desert. And my husband, we are here because my husband left today for a 5-day cattle drive. There's the Reno Rodeo Cattle Drive that happens every year. They bus the participants. There's about, I think, 60 people, first come, first serve when the signups go live. And I think he signed up last August. So this is almost a year in the making. Sign up. They bus you north to Winnemucca Ranch, and then you start there and then make your way. You get paired with a horse. You make your way and drive the cattle that will be used for the rodeo down to Reno. I believe it's about 80 miles, and they ride a little bit each day. They camp. There's Cowboy Olympics. There's bonding. It is like a real life City Slickers experience. Only my husband said at 51, he thinks he might be the youngest person of the group. But I love that these midlife men are, he said there's a few women, so I don't mean to exclude the ladies, but he said it's predominantly male. In their 60s, some retired. So I love that these people get to come and experience this real like Old West ranch experience. Everybody is expected to dress Western. They can go all out with the time period. I saw a man this morning get off the elevator that was in full Spanish vaquero garb. He had his chaps, his vest, his hat. It was amazing. And it reminds me that we have to find these little things in life that bring us joy and be okay with them being these little experiences that we do that give us something to look forward to or can sort of reset us for the trials of daily life. I love retreats, and I go on a retreat about every 2 years. I think I did a retreat the last 2 years, so an international retreat and then a retreat to Maine last fall, and nothing on the books this year, but next year I'm already signed up for a trip to Thailand. And I think that while I love being on those retreats and it's like this huge escape from daily life, that I also, like I said, it kind of gives me a reset of like, okay, let's come back down. Let's reflect on life. Let's heal what we need to heal. And then we go back into the real world feeling a little more secure, a little more regulated. Might not always be the case depending on how chaotic your life is, or if you are able to take the time out for that. And I'm not pushing a retreat. I actually canceled the Tahoe retreat this week, so I am going on my own solo adventure. I'm checking out of the hotel today, headed west, going into California and spending the next 4 nights in various places around the Tahoe area. And I'm looking forward to the solitude, but also just the experience of different cultures, different environment, different geography, different nature. I sat down at the pool this morning and there was a man at the pool, sitting at the edge of the pool, who had his phone on full blast music, like disco music. Started with an old Michael Jackson song, and then it went into some really weird song, and then like Donna Summer. And he was grooving and he was singing out loud. And I had my headphones in and I was trying to listen to my book, and I was getting so annoyed. And I thought, my gosh, has my window of tolerance gotten so small that I am wanting to begrudge this man the right to listen to music that brings him joy and to sing along to it? Now, yeah, I mean, certainly there is polite society and there is etiquette when we're in public around, not bothering other people. But I have to remember that it's it's not my world. We get so wrapped up in how we want things to be. And there are 8 billion people on this planet. I know I've said that before on the podcast, but sometimes I have to remind myself that there are 8 billion distinct personalities on this planet. And the beauty of being human is that we do have certain traits that may complement other people's, and we find the people that we want to spend time with and who make us feel safe. I had my second coaching call or community call with the Thrive Collective this morning, and yeah, we were just talking about how it feels to have safe spaces where we can talk authentically about things we're going through. That me as a facilitator for the community, I don't claim to know it all. I just teach and give examples, and I have a framework that helps, and that helps you with what I did to do all the things that I've done in my life, like write a book and start a business and have this courage to just go out and do the things that I set my mind to, which is absolutely not like how I was raised and sort of taught, was like more to color in between the lines. And there's an episode coming up that I'm not going to spill the beans on who it is or anything about it. But once you listen to that episode, you will know what go get the markers means. So kind of like Tawanda in Fried Green Tomatoes, I think our new catchphrase needs to be go get the markers. So when you're taught to color inside the lines and be, this molded into this expectation of society, then it's like, oh, we get so caught up in coloring between the lines and making our picture perfect, and we can color outside the lines. And that's what this man was doing at the pool. He got the markers and he was painting a picture for everybody, whether we liked it or not. So I finally realized, like, I have to make peace with this. I can either turn up my book in my Audible book in my earbuds, which I did. And then I also just kind of like, okay, you know what? This is what's happening. There's a lot of different people at this pool. I was surprised because it was 9 a.m. There's a lot of people at this pool. Everybody's having conversations, kids playing. I have to expand my window of tolerance. And my friend Danny Carr is a great facilitator of this type of that's what I learned on the retreat in Bali. So I think that's what I go back to, the things that I've learned on retreat, and that was one of them, to expand my window of tolerance. So I can, I hung out there as long as I wanted to, as long as I felt comfortable. I came back, got showered, recording this, and about to head out. I'm going to try to find a trail to hike on this afternoon. I'm going to make it a traveled trail. Normally, I would want like the most, remote, solitary, road less traveled, but not when I'm traveling solo in a state that I haven't been in a long time. So if you don't hear back from me on next Sunday's episode, send out the park rangers. No. It'll be fine. I also wanted to share a little bit. So, learning to tolerate other people, other things, whether that's through the serenity prayer, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. That includes people, places, things, events, layoffs, uh, losses, all those things. So the book that I was listening to is Yesteryear, and I haven't read it yet, but I saw that my friend wrote a Substack article about it. I know it's been all the buzz talking about this book. I am, I think, only about halfway into listening to it on Audible. So I don't know, where it's going, and I don't want to give any spoilers, and I don't want any spoilers. So please, if you have read it, don't put anything in the comments. Don't message me. Don't tell me anything about it. I'm far enough along to know, we're kind of bouncing between things, between worlds. But she keeps talking about her experience with motherhood and how foreign it feels, how unnatural it feels to her. It's really, I think it's a very vulnerable character in that regard. And it's almost like you want to hate her, but then there's this aspect of her that is relatable. And I wanted to share two things specific to that part of the storyline. And one is that if you related to that part of Yesteryear and felt like motherhood was foreign, or like you were failing as a mother, or maybe right now you feel like you are failing as a mother, Casey Keene was on the podcast about 2 months ago. I did the whole April series on hormonal health, and she was on. Her book is now out in the world. It's called The Alchemy of Motherhood. And she talked about feeling like she lost the first 2 years of her son's life because of postpartum depression and anxiety, and how long it took her to get help, the right help, and the help that she needed. And I think that if you relate to that part of the story, you are absolutely not alone. There are resource groups like Casey's group. She has a Discord group. I think she also has a website for The Alchemy of Motherhood. And maybe the book would be a great resource. The other piece that is interesting to me, and I never had kids, and part of that was because I worried about what my mental health was going to be like as a mother. I knew that I was going through a lot, and I wasn't sure how much I had to give to a human who depended on me. And I feel like not only would I have gone through that, and I'm not saying, oh, I spared myself that challenge in life. I was okay with not being a mom. But now in like post menopause and what I'm going through right now, the things that she talks about and how she feels are so reflective of how I have been feeling like as a postmenopausal woman. Just this whole, like, I don't know who I am, and I don't know what to do with, for me, it's not a baby that's depending on me, but there's people, there's my husband, there's this new job I'm starting, there's just outreach that I've done for the last 5 years with community and creating safe spaces for women. And it just is an interesting place to be mentally. And whether it's post-pregnancy or post-menopause or perimenopause, if you're having these thoughts, these feelings like, I just want to run away from it all, or I just want it all, it's just a reality of what is going on in our brain. It is not a failure of who we are. And thankfully, I have been taking the steps that I need to take to feel better. And so I do feel better. Now there's still days where I'm like, man, I have no idea what to do with myself today. And I've never lacked direction like this. And so it's such a foreign place to be. But in the book, she is told, basically fake it till you make it. And that's kind of this mentality that she adopts. And while I used to use that phrase and I might cringe at it now. I don't know, but I'm wondering if I need to fake it till I make it. And not in an inauthentic, like, oh, I'm going to fake who I am and how I feel, but just this idea of like, express gratitude, even if it doesn't feel like you're that grateful for something right now. Or, go out and do the workout or do the hike, even if you don't feel like doing it, because you're going to get those endorphins flowing and then it's going to be great. Like, that's going to be this amazing reward. I feel like every unmotivated part of myself that I have fought with throughout the years. So whether it was not wanting to work out or not wanting to cook or not wanting to eat right or wanting to eat all the sweets or wanting to drink all the coffee is what's going on right now. Oh my gosh, I'm like a coffee fiend. It's okay. And I am learning to just take the steps, the baby steps that I can take. I have not read Atomic Habits, but of course there's this whole idea of tiny habits and habit stacking and all of these things. So that is my goal for this week, in being by myself and being in this beautiful surrounding like Tahoe area, getting outside in nature. Of course, I do that a lot, but being in a different place might help reset and refresh my mindset. I'm going to journal a lot this week about what are the steps that I need to take to get back in these habits of things that I want to do. I was telling someone the other day, we were talking about processed food, and I said, as a magnified ADHD person now, I can't, if I'm, we waste so much food. We throw out food. We decide we want to go out to eat. I think my husband's somewhere in on the spectrum of ADHD. And so we find it really easy to just say, oh, don't feel like cooking. Well, he doesn't cook. Well, let's go out to eat. So little things that help make our lives easier, and, having food cooked and ready to go or whatever that looks like. I'm kind of rambling now, but I'm going to use this week ahead to reflect on what I need in my life to feel more motivated, to maybe reclaim some of the person that I was before, who was very driven and ambitious, and also learn to accept the woman I'm becoming in this new chapter. I turned 51 yesterday, so maybe that's part of it too. There's this whole idea of a birthday, and 51 wasn't something that I was like, oh, let's celebrate. It's a big milestone, anything. I mean, you should be happy to live for 51 years and then 52 and 53. My dad turns 80 today, so we celebrated Friday night with family dinner to celebrate his 80 years on this planet. So every day is a gift. Absolutely. I will spend this week ahead on my own, reflecting on what I need in my life, what this decade is going to look like. And I think it's going to involve a little more self-love and self-nourishing, and finally putting on my oxygen mask like I tell everybody else to do. So I look forward to seeing how that unfolds in this coming year with a new job, with the Thrive Collective, and growing that as something that happens alongside this new job. And I've always got to have something that feels like outreach, that feels like supporting others, but I'm also going to make more effort to support myself. Thank you for listening today. I feel like this one was a little bit rambly, but I've had a venti Americano from Starbucks. So, yeah, and some beautiful sunshine on my face already today. Hope you find the sun this week and go get the markers. I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Rock the Damn Boat, a podcast produced and recorded by Christy Hughes. You can follow, subscribe on both Apple and Spotify, and your 5-star review goes a long way. Thank you so much for your support of the show.